Hi everyone, Chris Jeub here with Training Minds Ministry, here to train minds for action as mandated in 1 Peter 1:13. I'm here with my friend Isaiah McPeak. He's a graduate of Patrick Henry College and an entrepreneur at heart. He is publisher of the widely acclaimed Ethos Debate Briefs and puts out several other resources for academic speakers and debaters. He's one of our featured speakers at the upcoming For Action conference in January, and I'm sure he will have lots to share. How you doing, Isaiah?
Doing great. Thanks, Chris. I appreciate the time with the interview.
All right. Well, I appreciate you. And people don't know, might not know this of us two, but traditionally we are competitors. In fact, we still are competitors. We both put
Right.
out we both put out debate briefs. We compete for the same audience of academic speakers and debaters in two debate leagues. And but in the grand scheme of things, we are both very much on the same page, and we both have a common vision for young people. We both have a desire to reach the next generation of young people. Um, and I could talk about this all day long myself, but how about Isaiah McPeak's vision for young people? What is your and your company's vision for them?
Sure. I think, we probably would both talk all day and be very happy about it. Where we really draw much of the background for what we do at Ethos, and really I bring into the professional workplace all the time too, is this depth of classical rhetoric, which is to say that there are some thousands of years of great communications expertise, and most of the time that's paired with wisdom. Whereas today we kind of, modern communications can really focus on just the technique, and that's really where we want to impact young people. Is that communication is one of the most powerful weapons that exists. If you think about most historical moments, you can remember a speaker and a famous line that speaker said. Veni Vidi Vici. That everybody knows that. Martin Luther King. I have a dream. The history is defined by words, and so to cultivate good and to be wise decision makers, which is at the heart of speech, debate, and public speaking, is really about cultivating the soul.
Yeah.
And so form, which is technique, should follow content, which is thinking. And so we're out there to help students say, it's good to package stuff, and we'll help you package your thoughts and ideas, but you shouldn't package thoughts and ideas that don't deserve packaging. And so bringing that classical rhetoric concept of moving others towards the good and seeking the art and the discipline so that communications becomes a martial art, that's what I think it's about.
Yeah, communication becomes a martial art. That's an interesting way to do it, because I oftentimes compare speech and debate as the idea of fighting with your mind or sparring with your mind, and that's a great analogy. Um, a big part of For Action are people like you, Isaiah. You're in your 20s. How old are you?
I'm 27.
27 years old, and I'm calling the 20-somethings who are the speakers of the For Action conference prophets. Older guys like myself, and I just interviewed Andrew Pudua today, and there's some other old guys who are doing that. They're more like patriarchs who have been a couple decades into entrepreneurship and business and serving others. But you, I call a prophet, and along with other people on the list are in their 20s, and it's not in a religious sense, but in a business sense. You're doing work that is out of the ordinary of the typical millennialist. Your vision for young people is great, but what about your vision for like your friends and other young adults who's graduated and trying to move on into life? Can you speak to those folks?
Sure, I think so. And, this has been an interesting journey for me, and I'm still obviously learning more about it every day. And
Yeah.
And I'm really amazed at some of the forums I end up thrust into. So, for example, just this morning, I was giving a presentation to the chief executive and 92 top leaders of a 6,000 person company, and trying to help them see what they said about themselves and culturally where challenges are. And I can't believe I'm there as a millennial, talking to someone who's in probably their 50s or 60s about these things. And really, what got me there is accident, nothing that I caused, but there's a freshness of perspective that the millennial of my generation needs to be able to not just embrace, but be confident in that we've grown up around technology. We've grown up questioning leaders because we've had unprecedented access to information where you don't believe what people say, you check the facts. And, that's kind of what debate is all about too. So those things go hand in hand. And I think that's really part of what has put me where I am. Is a millennial is just as capable of being wise, looking at data and making a good decision and influencing others towards a good decision as anyone. And someone who's been tainted by decades of poor decisions or has not been able to make good decisions doesn't necessarily know what to do to get there. So really, age just has in many ways become irrelevant. I mean, if you look at the startup founders of major brands and companies across America and the world, it just astounds me that we live in a unique moment where people my age are having opportunities that, frankly, we don't deserve. But they're coming to us anyways, and people are even looking to us for leadership. And that freshness, the ability to act on principle, is just something that a millennial needs to learn to be confident in, and learn to embrace and engage with the world in.
Oh, Isaiah, I'm so glad you're on board with the 4Action Conference. And let me plug it a little bit. The 4Action Conference is a 3-day conference that focuses on the family in Colorado Springs, January 2nd through the 4th. You, Isaiah, bring to the table entrepreneurship, much like many of our speakers do. And you have quite a record in doing things successfully. Attendees of the conference will glean from people like you to bring success to their own lives. Like you were just saying, the opportunities that millennialists have are great today. And I look at Training Minds for Action as, boy, let's give those opportunities, open up those opportunities for young people. And I'm excited for that. Millennials sometimes get a bum rap for being, lazy, or just they don't take advantage of the opportunities. But people like you are examples of, yes, you did take advantage of opportunities that came your way and didn't use your generation as an excuse to not take advantage of them. People can view more of this at trainingminds.org/action. Isaiah, I have your bio on the website, and we know what you do with speech and debate curriculum, and I know that too, and maybe the viewers do. But you have some business things going on, especially this thing called Mind Lenses. Could you explain a bit more about that?
Sure. Yeah. So Nine Lenses is, technically I worked for them through Ethos through the startup phase. I was the number 4 person there, not meaning an authority, meaning the 4th in sequence. And now we're about 25 people, and this business has just been growing like crazy. And my job has been to be the analyst and presenter of people data. What we're trying to do is going to sound really far-fetched, but we're doing it. It's trying to give consulting in a box, give at software speed consultant depth. And so we're deploying technology that asks 1,000 people questions about every area of the business. And my job is to first work myself out of a job by defining how anything that I do can be done as software, so that we can turn that over to a user and they don't have to pay me to do it. But also to read and analyze what people say about their companies and show what the mirror says back to the CEO and blow hair back. Not because Isaiah McPeak found anything incredible, but because when you ask 100 people if management listens and empowers, or what are the elephants in the room in the organization, the data is mind-blowing to leaders. It is absolutely stunning. And so I get to make presentations to organizations, mostly at the CEO level, or they bring me to offsites and I present to the whole company and say, here's what your data is speaking, and some of the actions that seem to be most relevant and pertinent based on what you said. And it's really, I'm so blessed to have this job where really making a dent in the universe by giving a voice to people who are used to flying their desk or cubicle. And I mean, the statistics on it are outrageous. In the world, Gallup says that fewer than 35% of employees are engaged, meaning that sounds, not bad until you realize that means that they spend the majority of their day not doing productive things for the organization. And a CEO can look at that and say, oh, I have a bunch of deadbeat employees. There's another viewpoint there, which is, I'm an employee and I have no idea what the strategy is. You would not believe the amount of times that a CEO thinks the problem is culture or productivity or operations or processes, but the real root cause is people don't know where the organization's going, and so they don't know how to contribute, or they don't know that they should care to contribute because they're not treated like they should. And so here I am being a voice and conduit for this channel of information up and down, and that's just been so revealing, and really a Harvard case study level education of, for 2 years, I've been reading from, a $1 billion landscaping firm to a 20-person finance firm to a Fortune 10 firm. I mean, just all kinds of data about all organizations and the problems that they face. And so being able to leverage that entrepreneurially and help people and guide people and learn myself, it's just unparalleled learning and tapping into a new data set that nobody's really explored.
That sounds absolutely fascinating. Wow, and boy, you're dealing with some big shots. This is cool. Does what Nine Lenses offers? Is this also able to be offered to like the solopreneur or the startup, people who are kind of flopping along and really rusty? Can Nine Lenses speak into their lives also?
Absolutely. So, there are fewer people to ask, and it's less about that. But the back end of Nine Lenses is what's incredible, and this is probably why I'm attracted to it as a debater. Is this a framework? Think kingdom, phylum, genus, species. 9 lenses, 37 sublenses, hundreds of themes, thousands of diagnostics, 4 levels deep. Define a business end to end, literally. You could send to me any of the 6,000 some odd management books on Amazon.com, and I can tag that by lens, sublens, and theme, the areas that affects in a business. Meaning, if those areas light up red, I can tell you the best content that you should look at. That's not really the point. The point is, for entrepreneurs, I've helped people and actually planned my own businesses using the 9 lenses framework. Because if you think about your markets, your people, your finance, your strategy, your operations, your execution, how you're going to measure it, expectations, often overlooked, governance, and entity. Those are the 9 lenses. If you think about the issues that fit into all of those, you have a master business plan that is foolproof. It's solid. And so an entrepreneur should grab Edwin Miller's book, 9 Lenses, Insight to Action, and learn those 9 lenses and plan their business through them. And there's tons of free resources that help you do that.
That sounds great. Wow, this is I didn't expect our interview to go this way, but is there something you can bring to the 4Action conference and we can put on the table, maybe even sell to the people who are there, that represents the whole 9 lenses idea?
You know what? I probably could. Let me noodle on that because I'll give you some examples. We've got some crazy, interesting tools. So one is just thinking through the 9 lenses and planning a business, right? But one is this is going to give a good example too. People lens, employee sub-lens. So other sub-lenses of people are like culture, leadership, organizational design. Okay, so employee sub-lens, and then employee characteristics theme, measurement 13. These are the 13 characteristics of a leader. Tenacity, passion, experiences, all kinds of things. 250 behavioral interview questions that I've helped research and write to diagnose all of those areas at as much depth as you could possibly want to go. So I've got a nice little handout that's behavioral interview questions to assess a leader. Really fun stuff to either practice or use to make hires. I use that in my hiring all the time. Another one is Snapshot 9, a great about how to think about your financial model. In fact, I better bring that one too. I'll write that down.
Okay, great.
Really easy way to think about how do I find dollars that exist without making a new sale? Because efficiencies and lowering of touch. Yeah, I mean, every business needs to be thinking that way.
Yeah.
So sure, I'd be happy to bring that kind of stuff.
Awesome. And come to think of it, you have a lot of former speakers and debaters that are in this group of Nine Lenses, the employees, the investors, the people who are the startups of this. Aren't there a lot of your friends are former debaters, Training Minds alumni, and things like that, right?
Yes, for the past actually 2 companies I worked for, I helped build a Homeland Security division that was started with one person, me, and now some 50 to 60 people. I did that about 4 years ago is when I started that. Hired probably 5 debaters for that, and now at Nine Lenses, I've got about 5 debaters on staff that analyze data, design products, and I mean, you would not believe, I have 20-year-old debaters who I can't send in person to present to a CEO because of how young they look. Put them on the phone, and they're literally making recommendations to CEOs about what they should do for their multi-million-dollar companies. It is stunning. So I found those who have mastered the critical thinking and just intellectual habits of speech and debate really make rock star employees. And I think that's been an edge for me personally is wherever I've gone, I've been able to find people that you can hire people at 20 to do a 30-year-old's job.
Amen. Yep.
And having those types of resources and network is just, there's no price tag you could put on it. And I never thought that would happen. Like, it never crossed my mind until I woke up one day and I was like, wait a second. Why do I have a bunch of 22-year-olds and I'm not that much older all working on this project, and we're competing with, 40-year-olds with MBAs and doing pretty well.
Man, you really tearing me up here. That's funny. Oh, that's funny. You are speaking my heart, though. This is, I've always said, and actually the 4Action Conference is reminiscent of this, is that, look, we are training these homeschool speakers and debaters with all these wonderful skills. But the purpose is not to fill their parents' attic up with dusty trophies. It's to do great things in life. And it sounds like Nine Lenses and what you're doing with your peers and things like that who are coming out of the homeschool speech and debate movement is exciting. Now, the 4Action Conference isn't limited to speakers and debaters. So this isn't an interview to advocate getting involved in speech and debate. If the viewer is a young person in that 16 to 24-year-old range, you are welcome to come and get in with this group of people. There's a lot of talent coming out of the community that I'm very familiar with, what Training Minds has traditionally been very familiar with, but we're trying to kind of bust a lid open and bust through a glass ceiling and really give tools and resources and vision and passion and networking to the young people who come. So it's open to people outside our communities, but you and I can't get enough of talking about speech and debate. I think that's just
let me piggyback on that.
Yeah.
Because I think that's so important to understand. To me, what speech and debate really represents is the process of mastery. If you spend 2 or 3 hours a week on anything, that's good. If you spend 2 or 3 hours a day, as many speech and debate students do, on something, you're learning mastery. And I think that the most influential things in my life, yes, speech and debate, and my speech and debate coach was, but a completely different angle is my trumpet teacher. And I spent 2 to 3 hours a day practicing trumpet with a great man who just really mentored me. But the point is, the process of mastery. Am I a professional trumpet player? No. Do I like playing music? Yes. Do I think that has benefited me in everything I've done? Yes. So it's not that you need to do speech and debate or music or anything in particular. It's that the humdrum of, oh, now I'm studying for the SAT, and now I'm pulling this all-nighter to do this paper, and now I'm doing the trendy trying to compete with everyone at what they're doing. It doesn't really work. And there's something that's less worrisome and more enjoyable about finding that one thing or those two things and learning to master them that allows you to jump into any environment, any ambiguous situation, and master it because you know the process of mastery.
Precisely. That's awesome. Hey, what's your talk going to be about at the 4Action Conference?
Good question. Let me look up the title because we just made it smaller, which was good. I think we made it down to life, God, and surprises, right?
Yes. That's
so I wanted to start. I started the title with something much different and much shorter, which is something along the lines of life is a surprise. Let it happen. The idea being that as young people, there's so much pressure all the time, and this is probably not unique to our generation, but it certainly is a pressure in our generation. What do you want to be when you grow up? And you have to plan your career path and blah 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 blah. Whereas you're learning that in with one foot, and then with the other foot, you're learning trust God, don't worry, be who you're supposed to become, and all these things. And to me, it's just here. The bottom line is there's a ceiling. It's like one of my professors had in philosophy class there's a grammar ceiling for all your papers, no matter how brilliant. There's a grammar ceiling. Well, there's a ceiling for what you can do, which is what you can imagine. And if you're trying to plan your life perfectly, first of all, that's silly. Second of all, that's probably not good or wise or the right thing to do. But third of all, things can happen in your life that you can't foresee. And those are the most incredible things. And so planning your life out perfectly is really a good way to set a ceiling on your life. And so my talk is about stories and examples and following principles that say, no, I am not going to put a ceiling on my life. I'm going to set some principles I'll live by and abide to those and see where it takes me. And I think there will be some incredible results.
Awesome. I cannot wait. Okay, let's see. For those of you who are watching this interview, because this is going to be posted later on, but boy, Isaiah, you are really digging some deep truth into their hearts, and I hope they sign up for the conference. Take some time to visit trainingminds.org/action and seriously consider making the trip out to Colorado Springs January 2nd through the 4th. The conference is capped at 90 people, giving you personal access to speakers all weekend long. You'll be there all 3 days, Isaiah, along with the other speakers. And all conference materials, meals, and sessions come with your 3-day ticket of only $179. We are filling up, so make your plans today. Isaiah, do you have any last thoughts for the viewers?
I can't wait to meet the people who are going to come and honestly spend 3 days with the other speakers. It's going to be absolutely inspiring, I think, up and down and all around. So I hope to see everyone there.
Awesome. Well, thanks again for your time, Isaiah, and I look forward also to seeing you and the other speakers at the 4Action Conference.
Thank you, Chris.
All right, take care.